In 2025, while you freely choose what to watch on YouTube, 148 people huddled in silence in a Vietnamese safe house. One cough, one cry could mean death for all of them. They weren't criminals. Their only crime? Seeking the most basic human right. We take for granted freedom. Today, you'll hear the untold story of the largest group defection operation from North Korea, a mission where leaving even one person behind meant everyone dies. Join us in standing up for human rights. Subscribe to hear more stories of freedom. Your support amplifies voices that the world needs to hear. Together, we can shine light on stories that matter. A house on the outskirts of Vietnam. If caught, we'd be dragged back to North Korea to die. The windows stayed shut all day. After 9 p.m., even talking was forbidden. 35 people in this house. 40 next door. 30 more beyond that. 148 people, all from North Korea. Vietnamese police patrols circled the alley every night. When headlights swept across the windows, everyone held their breath. The supervisor repeated the same warning every day. Don't even breathe too loud. One mistake, and all 148 of us die. Why were these people risking their lives, huddled together like this? Since the 2020s, internal controls in North Korea tightened. But overseas deployments and Chinese assignments actually increased. Some couldn't survive in China anymore. With routes to South Korea blocked, they clung to a rumor: make it to Southeast Asia, and you'll live. Vietnam had a reputation among defectors: reach there, and the South Korean government moves. Brokers followed that rumor, gathering people bit by bit. Some were on trade assignments. Others fled China with nowhere left to go. Some had lost their families and had no home to return to. They all started from different places. But in Vietnam, 148 people converged on one hope: get here. And we can reach South Korea. 10 people per room, 2 bathrooms, showers once a week, 2 meals a day, half rice, half corn, a few pieces of kimchi. I moved between people, breaking up arguments. I reminded them, don't bump into each other, don't cry, don't make noise. Some days, a child would burst into tears. The mother would cover the child's mouth, crying with them. An elderly man would cough into his blanket, muttering, I can't let everyone get caught because of my cough. 6 months passed. People's faces had completely changed. Their eyes were dead. They barely spoke. One night, the supervisor said quietly, if we can't move everyone at once, it's over. We all understood. There was no way to send 148 people to South Korea together. Split them up, and the second group gets caught. That thought stuck in my head. At night, I stared at the ceiling. We made it this far. Is this where it ends? From the next room, I heard someone quietly sobbing. No one could comfort them. There were no words. That night, strange rumors started spreading. Is South Korea really coming for us? Vietnam's not on our side. Maybe they're gathering us to hand us over to China. I couldn't be sure either. We'd been lied to so many times. Betrayed so many times. But I couldn't say it out loud. If I wavered, everyone would collapse. Through the window, I saw Vietnam's night streets. People walking freely. Lit storefronts. Laughter and conversation. We were separated from that world by one window. The difference between us and them? We couldn't open that window. Looking back, those words marked the beginning of everything. If we can't move everyone at once, it's over. And that end was coming much faster than we thought. 6 months in hiding. People's faces were unrecognizable. Gaunt. Eyes hollow. Some stared blankly at walls. Others had nightmares every night. One evening, a middle-aged man quietly gathered people together. This thing about South Korea, is it real? Silence. No one answered. The man continued. I hid in China for 3 years. They told me the same thing then. We'll send you to South Korea. But what happened? They handed me over to the police. Murmurs spread. Right, Vietnam's not on our side. Doesn't it seem weird they're keeping us all in one place? Maybe they're planning to hand us over to China. I had to stop this. Nothing's certain yet. Don't talk like that. But the man shook his head. That's the problem. Nothing's certain. What's changed in 6 months? We're just trapped here. I couldn't argue. Nothing had changed. The next day, the mood shifted completely. People gathered in clusters, whispering. Is the supervisor lying to us? Did he just take our money and sell us to Vietnam? Wouldn't it be better to escape? A middle-aged woman choked up. My kid asks me every day when we're going to South Korea. What am I supposed to tell him? An elderly man leaned against the wall. muttering, "It was like this when we left North Korea too. They said China would be better. But in China, we were treated worse than dogs." Hope was crumbling fast. People who used to laugh quietly now wouldn't even look at each other. They'd set down their spoons mid-meal and just sigh. At night, sobbing echoed from every corner. Someone even said, "Maybe I should just go back to North Korea." That sent a chill down my spine. Going back to North Korea meant going back to die. I gathered people together. If we give up now, it's really over. Think about why we came this far. But a man sneered. Why? To survive. But are we surviving? Is this surviving locked up, waiting to get caught? I couldn't answer. He was right. We came here to live. But now we were just holding on, trying not to die. That night, I started doubting too. Can we really make it to South Korea? 6 months. No progress. The supervisor kept repeating, "Just wait a little longer." Did the Vietnamese government even know we existed? If they did, why weren't they doing anything? If they didn't, what would happen when they found out? Questions spiraled. No answers came. Faith wavered. Hope faded. Looking back, that was the hardest moment. Not the fear of dying. The fear that hope was a lie. That morning was different. The supervisor's face was grim. He gathered everyone but couldn't speak for a long time. That silence said everything. "Vietnamese police came last night." His voice trembled. "And we got word." Everyone held their breath. He closed his eyes. "They're sending everyone back to the country you came from before Vietnam." The world stopped. Before Vietnam, China. And from China, North Korea. Everyone understood. North Korea meant political prison camps. Prison camps meant death. A moment of silence. Then someone screamed, "No, no." The room erupted. Women wailed. Men punched walls. "Just kill us. Kill us here." A middle-aged man shouted. An elderly man collapsed to the floor, sobbing. "Why did you bring us this far?" Children cried seeing the adults cry. A mother clutched her child, whispering, "I'm sorry. I'm sorry." I collapsed too. My legs gave out. I leaned against the wall. My mind went blank. How long did it take to get here? From North Korea, across the Tumen River into China. Years hiding in China. Paid brokers. Through Laos. To Vietnam. We nearly died so many times. Left families behind. Risked everything. And now they were sending us back to North Korea? A woman shrieked hysterically. Did they bring us here just to kill us? We should have been caught in China, at least we wouldn't have suffered this long. The supervisor tried to calm people down. I contacted the South Korean government. They're working on it. No one believed him. A man laughed bitterly. South Korea? You think they care about us? 148 people? How? Silence. Sadly, he was probably right. Night came. The mood worsened. Someone said, "I'd rather kill myself here." Another said, "Let's escape." The supervisor kept saying, "Just wait a little longer." But people had reached their limit. A young man tried to open the door and leave. Others grabbed him. "If you go out, we all die." He cried out, "We're all going to die anyway. Trapped in here or outside, what's the difference?" I felt helpless. For 6 months, I'd held people together. Now I had no words left. Hope vanished completely. Outside the window, Vietnamese people went about their lives. We were under the same sky, but in a completely different world. That night, all 148 faces looked like they'd already seen their own deaths. At the time, I thought it was the end. But it wasn't. The next day, something small began to shift. A few days passed. People had given up. They were just surviving day to day. Then one afternoon, the supervisor quietly called me over. "People are here." From outside. I followed him out. 2 strangers from South Korea stood. There, a middle-aged man in a suit and a young woman. Their expressions were serious. The man spoke quietly. "We're from the South Korean government. We're working to get you out." I couldn't believe it. "Really? All 148? He nodded. "Everyone. Not a single person left behind." The woman added, "But there are conditions. We need to coordinate with Vietnam. Everything has to stay secret. No leaks." My voice trembled. When can we leave?" The man hesitated. "Not certain. But we'll move as fast as we can." That night, I told everyone. But the response was cold. "That again? We've been lied to enough." A man scoffed. Others shook their heads. "You really think the South Korean government's moving? They're just trying to keep us quiet." I pleaded. "No. I saw them myself." People came from South Korea. But people had already given up. They wouldn't believe anymore. A few days later, the South Koreans returned. This time with specifics. We're negotiating with Vietnam. Conditions first, no leaks. Second, everyone moves at once. Third, South Korea takes responsibility. The man continued. This is a burden for Vietnam too. They have to consider China and North Korea, so we have to move quietly. Fast. I asked, so it's really possible? The woman smiled for the first time. We're making it possible. From that day, the moods slowly shifted. The South Koreans came frequently. The supervisor kept saying, get ready. People were still skeptical, but at least they hadn't completely given up. A woman asked quietly, can we all really leave? I wasn't sure, but I nodded. We had to believe that. I didn't know if I was saying it to her or to myself. One night, the South Korean man pulled me aside. We'll move in a few days. Don't tell anyone, just prepare them mentally. My heart pounded. Are we really leaving? Really going to South Korea? I couldn't believe it. After 6 months of despair, could we hope again? I wasn't sure, but one thing was clear: this was the last chance. If this didn't work, it was truly over. That night, I looked out the window. We might actually make it out alive. We'd nearly died in North Korea, China, Laos, Vietnam. Now one final gate remained. Could all 148 leave together? What if even one got left behind? Fear and hope collided. Looking back, that was the second crossroads of fate. And our destiny would be decided in the early hours, just a few days later. 2 a.m. The supervisor woke everyone. Get up. We're leaving now. People woke groggily, packing without understanding what was happening. Where are we going? Someone asked. The supervisor didn't answer. Quiet. Move fast. No noise. Outside, several buses waited. The South Koreans hurried people aboard. It took 30 minutes to load all 148. The bus started moving. No one told us where we were going. No one asked. People just sat, staring out the windows, anxious. The streets of pre-dawn Vietnam were silent. Only street lights flickered past the bus windows. After about an hour, the lead bus suddenly stopped. Ours stopped too. People tensed. Why are we stopping? What's going on? Whispers spread. Outside a checkpoint, 2 Vietnamese police officers approached the lead bus. The bus froze. Even children instinctively stopped crying. People held their breath. A South Korean man stepped forward, talking to the police. We couldn't hear what he said. Time stopped. 1 minute felt like 10. 10 minutes felt like an hour. The officer reached for the bus door. The woman next to me moaned quietly. It's over. I felt the same. If they caught us here, it was all over. China, North Korea, that was the end. But the South Korean man kept showing documents, kept talking. The officer hesitated, then nodded. He didn't open the door. He waved us through. The bus moved again. People exhaled. An hour later, another problem. An elderly man in the back collapsed. He can't breathe. His daughter screamed. People panicked. The bus stopped. The South Korean woman rushed over. He needs a hospital. People murmured. A hospital? What about the rest of us? A man shouted. The daughter cried. Please, save my father. The South Korean man spoke into a radio. After a moment, he said, no hospital. We'll give emergency treatment here and keep moving. If even one person falls behind, everyone's at risk. The daughter sobbed, but there was no choice. The woman gave the man medicine and oxygen. Slowly, he began breathing again. The bus moved on. No one spoke. We understood the weight of those words, not a single person left behind. Dawn broke. The bus kept moving. We still didn't know where we were going. But strangely, relief crept in. At least we were moving. At least something was happening. That alone felt like hope. A woman asked quietly, we're really going to make it, right? I couldn't answer. I wasn't sure, but I nodded. We had to believe that. That night, the word group became salvation for the first time. 148 people. Not a single one left behind. We were moving together. When the sun fully rose, the bus stopped. Outside a massive building. Airplanes. An airport. People murmured. It's an airport. Are we really taking a plane? But no one fully believed it. Even here, we could still be betrayed. The South Korean man boarded. You're boarding a plane now. Don't talk. Just do as you're told. We got off the bus. 148 people walking in a line. It must have been a sight. But no one looked happy. Everyone was tense. We entered through a side door, away from regular passengers. Down a narrow corridor. I kept looking back. Were Vietnamese police following? Coming to arrest us? We reached a place overlooking the runway. A plane sat there. Not large. No markings on the side. The South Korean woman said, "That plane will take you." People stared, but no one moved. A man asked carefully, "That's really going to South Korea?" She nodded, but people still looked doubtful. "If we get on that plane, we really go to South Korea?" A woman asked again. Another said, "That's not going to China, right?" The South Korean man looked frustrated. "Why do you think we went through all this? If we were sending you to China, we would have handed you over already." But people still couldn't believe. They'd been lied to too long, too many times. In North Korea, in China, on the way here, betrayed over and over. I felt the same. Was that plane really going to South Korea? Or somewhere else? I couldn't be sure. What if it was a lie? What if they were sending us back to China? The thoughts wouldn't leave my head. An elderly man stared at the plane, muttering, "The one thing I learned in North Korea: don't trust anyone." Those words seemed to speak for everyone. The South Koreans urged us to board. "No time. Get on now." People slowly moved forward. Some looked back as they climbed the stairs. Many were still anxious entering the plane. I climbed the stairs thinking, is this the right choice? Is getting on this plane right? But there was no other option. Stay here and die. Run and die. We had to board. The plane was cramped, tight for 148 people. But everyone found a seat. No flight attendants, just the South Koreans. The door closed. The engine roared to life. Then it hit me. We're really leaving. But anxiety remained. Until the plane left the runway, no, until we set foot on South Korean soil, no one could relax. Looking back, that distrust was survival instinct learned in North Korea. In a world where trust meant death, you had to doubt until the very end. The plane began rolling down the runway. Speed increased. The aircraft shook. People gripped the armrests. Some closed their eyes. Then the plane lifted off. Through the window, Vietnam grew distant. We entered the clouds. A woman murmured, "We're really flying." But still, no one celebrated. We didn't know where we were going. The cabin was silent. 148 people aboard, but barely a sound. Everyone stared out windows or sat with eyes closed. About an hour in, an announcement came. The captain's voice. First in Vietnamese, then English. People looked at each other, confused. Then Korean. "Passengers, we have now entered Republic of Korea airspace." Even then, people didn't move. Disbelief on their faces. A man asked his neighbor, "What did he just say?" "Republic of Korea airspace." "Really?" Murmurs spread, but still cautious. A woman asked a South Korean, "It's really South Korea? Really?" The person smiled and nodded. "Yes, we'll be landing soon." Then the mood shifted. A woman began crying. Hearing that, others broke down too. Men bowed their heads, tears streaming. Children didn't understand but cried with their mothers. I cried too. I tried to hold it back. The tears wouldn't stop. Years since leaving North Korea. Nearly died countless times between China and Vietnam. And now, finally we'd survived. The elderly man beside me said in a trembling voice, "I'm really going to set foot on South Korean soil. Before I die." Those words choked me up. He was over 70, spent his whole life in North Korea, left everyone behind, came alone. He said he came to live the rest of my life in freedom. Now he was crying, tears of joy. The plane began descending. Through the window, South Korean land appeared. Buildings. People pressed their faces to the windows. "That's Seoul. That's Incheon Airport." A man said, "We really made it. We really survived." Everyone nodded. Some cried again. The wheels touched the runway. A jolt. Speed decreased, then stopped completely. The captain announced again, "We have arrived at Incheon International Airport. Welcome to the Republic of Korea." At that moment, applause erupted. I don't know who started it, but everyone clapped. Some clapped while crying, some while laughing. I clapped too, hard enough to hurt my palms. The door opened. South Koreans waited outside. "Come out slowly. Welcome." Hearing those words, I finally realized. It's really over. We really survived. Looking back, that was the most moving moment of my life. We'd survived so many close calls. All 148 of us together. We got off the plane. Inside Incheon Airport, a different corridor from regular passengers. But that didn't matter. What mattered, this was the Republic of Korea. 148 people walked in a line. South Korean officials guided us. "This way. You can walk slowly." That phrase struck me. You can walk slowly. When was the last time I'd heard that? We reached a waiting area. Chairs, water and drinks prepared. People sat one by one. Someone started drinking water. A woman asked hesitantly, "Can we drink this?" A South Korean staff member smiled. "Yes, drink as much as you want." Then people started drinking. Some cried as they drank. Free water. That was freedom. A staff member stepped forward. "Everyone, welcome to the Republic of Korea. From now on, you are protected as citizens of the Republic of Korea." People began crying. Citizens of the Republic of Korea. I never knew those words could sound so precious. The staff continued. "Soon you'll go to Hanawan. You'll receive settlement education there and start new lives." They began calling names. One by one, people answered, "Yes, I'm here." But I noticed something. The staff didn't call us comrade. They called us by our names with the honorific SSI. Kim Chul Soo SSI. Park Young Hee SSI. That form of address felt strange. But good. Not comrade SSI. That was the beginning of freedom. We boarded buses again. This time, to Hanawan. Through the window, South Korean scenery. Tall buildings. Clean roads. Many cars. Even at night, the streets were bright. People walked freely. A man muttered, "This really is a different world." He was right. Same sky. Completely different world. Now I live in South Korea. I'm not fully adjusted. But every day, I feel freedom. I can turn on lights at night. I can say what I want. I can go where I want. I miss the family I left in North Korea. But I believe someday, when reunification comes, we'll meet again. In 2025, people still stand at that door. In Vietnam. In China. In Laos. I hope they survive, just like we did. 148 people. Not a single one left behind. One closed door meant death. One open door meant life. We opened that door. We found freedom. I hope this story helps you understand the preciousness of freedom. If this video helped you, please subscribe and like. Your support helps share more North Korean defector stories. Thank you for watching to the end.